Welcome to Between Escrows. I am one of your hosts, Amy Scruggs, and this is
Roger Savvy, Ambassador of Optimism, and you surely have landed at the right place.
This is the show for you if you are interested in growing your relationship building, your sales, your understanding of your business, and how to grow and be stable and enjoy it with the Ambassador of Optimism. I am a branding coach. You are at the right place. We have amazing episodes coming up. You don't want to miss it. Yes, you have arrived. We are here. We are back. It's been a few weeks since we've done an episode. Welcome if you are joining us anywhere that you're consuming this right now, whether we're live or whether you're watching it later. Welcome to Between Escrows. Myself, Amy, and my amazing co-host, Roger, which the little birdie told me today is his birthday. So we need extra love. I want a lot of happy birthdays inside those comments. You can comment during the live show. And we have brought in the mega birthday guest today, Christopher Oscar, which Roger's going to tell you about in just a second. But welcome back to Between Escrows. Roger, happy birthday.
Amy, thank you so very much. And it feels like a day like any other, but just your passion and your energy, I feel much better already. And you're right. Have we got a fabulous person, not just a fabulous real estate agent, but a human being. We're going to find out about the wonderful Christopher Oscar. I'm so excited about this chat. Yeah.
I am as well. So without Roger, just tell us a little bit, give us the teaser so our audience knows who they're about to meet.
Yes. As you know, being a coach, I got to meet a young real estate agent who was just starting off, and I got to meet that human being whose brain was wide open, and I've watched all the positions he has gone through, and now he's in a position of leadership, and many, many people look up to him. Whether you are a business leader, whether you are a new real estate agent, a seasoned real estate agent, these are great lessons in leadership of what he's picked up along the way without losing any of it. He just evolves continuously.
Yay. Okay, I've got my notebook here because I will be learning alongside. Welcome to the show, Christopher Oscar.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Amy. Thank you so much, Roger, for your birthday. I've got a little cake for you. So a big happy birthday to you, my good friend.
Thank you. You're always so creative. Thank you, Christopher. I'm sure that's part of your leadership skills is your creativity.
I brought you lip gloss. That's what I got.
Yeah, Christopher, welcome to Between Escrows.
Thank you.
And I was discussing with Amy just a few seconds ago, this is probably going to be less about real estate because you've built a great career, but you've also changed people's lives. Mm-hmm. And so I'm so interested in hearing more about Christopher and what drives you and your thoughts and what you've learned along the way. And with your permission, Amy and Christopher, can I dive right in?
Yeah, please.
Yep. You know, Christopher, I remember you back in the Better Homes and Gardens day. I watched you become an outstanding producing realtor, then move into sales leadership, and now this fascinating strategic growth and development role with Engel Völkers, which leads me to my first question, which is, you've worn almost every hat now in this business, producing agent, sales manager, now strategic growth and development. Looking back, Christopher, let me think about this. What did each stage teach you that you couldn't have learned by just staying in the previous one?
Ooh.
I like that. That is a great question, Roger.
Good way to start.
Yes. I would say for me, it's been saying yes, right? So trust the universe, say yes to life, say yes to invitations, because I've noticed in my life that that's where the true growth has come, right? And in a career like I'm in, it's a leap of faith, right? You're coming in there and you're saying, here I go, right? This isn't some 9 to 5, I'm getting paid. I'm going to put myself out there. So I'd like to take it back, Roger, even to when I was in college studying journalism. I was an investigative journalism major. That was my thing.
How fun was that?
It was a blast. And I was after the campus, I'm going to get the rules for the students. I was a proactive social justice type warrior for the students. And as I was doing this, and I was loving it, having a great time, the advertising manager of the college paper came to me and said, Christopher, would you like to take over when I graduate as the advertising sales manager for the local, for the newspaper on the college campus? It was called the Pioneer newspaper of CW Post Long Island University. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm writing stories, I'm doing this, but there's something here that's saying you're supposed to say yes. You have to say yes. And I did. I took it and I said, yes, I'm doing this. And then from there, it ended up launching my homecoming, right? I graduated and there was a position open in Montclair, New Jersey, advertising sales. I said, yeah, I'll take it. And this journey, funny enough, ended up landing me to Sonoma, California. And I was working in the advertising business here. Sonoma Index Tribune, right here, local. This boy from New Jersey was out here in California. And what do you think happened there, right? I was asked by the ad manager there, Christopher, there's an opening to become the real estate advertising manager for this newspaper. Would you take it on? Well, what's the answer, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's go. Yes.
Why
From
not?
there, I'm there. I said, why not? And I'm buying real estate at the time. I'm loving real estate. I was taught as a young kid, your financial freedom comes through ownership of real estate. My family owned multiple properties. We played Monopoly, right? Pretty much every weekend. 12-hour games, it felt like. Those things never end, by the way. But if you could see my office, if you could see the whole thing, it's decorated in Monopoly. I'm still playing the game. From there, though, the brokers from the real estate companies that I would sell advertising to said, you should get your real estate license. You should get your real estate. You should join us. Oh, okay. Yes. You see what I mean? And it just kept going and kept going. I could go on and on, but that's how I landed now, training, coaching, and above all, strategic growth sales manager for Engel Völkers. That's what I'm doing. And still, of course, selling homes. That's my mainstay, right?
Of course.
But I love it. That's where I would say that's the answer right there. Yeah.
Such a measured response, because so often we're taught, no, we say yes too often, just say no. But you seem to have an intuitive thing of saying yes to the right things, because you sense growth, and that's that growth mindset that you have. So let me shift it now from real estate to the humanity and the emotional side. You've often say helping people is why you became a realtor.
Right.
After hundreds of transactions, what have people really been searching for besides a home, Christopher?
You know what? It's financial freedom. That's it. They want, and I work with clients that are also the emotional buyers, where this home reminds them of the grandparents' home and its cute backyard and that. But the majority of the people I've met through real estate, and maybe it's because like attracts like, right? Because what did I buy? I ended up buying real estate property that I rent out. So I'm always been financially, it's been a financial. So the people that I've met through it, really the thing that's come about is financial freedom. Our jobs can pay us. Obviously, everybody has, money coming in, and we always find a way to spend that money, right? Where does it go? Vacation, dinner, food, rent, whatever, mortgage, whatever. But when you get into at the end of the day and you say, are we really saving anything? Am I putting anything away? Those that have found out, oh, it's through real estate. That's it. And then you're going to leave those properties to your kids and they're going to rent them out. So really, that's a big piece that I found. It was that financial freedom, that right there.
Yeah. You see that as the legacy building.
Legacy building, exactly.
Legacy building, it's how Joe Public builds personal wealth, as you said, and generational wealth. And I've learned from you, watching you train as well, it's about often your first home is where you put your roots down in the community, where some stability happens, where your kids learn, this is the rock, I'm going home to mom, dad, house, right?
Exactly. That's the piece right there. Financial freedom, having that set so that you are, because if you're in some places that people, when they're renting, at any time, someone can knock on that door and say, it's it's time, we're putting this house up for sale. So that piece too, security,
Right.
that security, unmeasured.
Yeah.
Christopher, when people are searching for that home in your experience, do you notice that they fall in love with the actual house, even if it's not quite the neighborhood they wanted? Or do they gravitate more towards like, I have to have this neighborhood and I will concede on certain features of a home? Or do you see a mix of both pretty evenly?
Oh yeah, definitely a mix of both for sure. A lot of times people come out, this is exactly what I want. This has to be. And we tour, and then we end up, it could be something that wasn't on the radar, but it just hits that certain thing, and I think like location can really top all, because, you get that spot where you're 4 blocks from the plaza strolling, or it's on a cul-de-sac and they've got 8-year-old twins that can ride the bike. Nice, things can change, in an instant, no doubt about it.
At which point then, when you're with a family and they're looking at the home, do you see it and okay, that's the one? Do you see something change in their body language? What do you notice when all right, this one's it?
Oh, I love that you said that. That is something that I love to experience. And I tell that with clients before I take them out. I say, that moment, that's what I do this for. I love that moment. In fact, went to a property with some clients that looked at it. The husband said, you know what? I could make this work. I like it. And his wife, Jennifer, said, and she was shaking her head in the corner. Nope. Went to the next house. Jennifer said, oh, this is the one. And I looked over, Johannes, how are you doing?
Yeah.
No, this doesn't have what I'm looking for. I said, oh, and they were like, we're so sorry, Chris. We're taking you all these homes and it's just not it. I said, no, this is good. We need this. When you find the right one, when you both come together, we're going to feel it. It's going to be an energy to it. What do you think? The next home I took them to, we opened the door. They both walked in. I was just standing there like a proud papa, just like this. And they looked at each other. I was wondering. They looked at each other and just said, oh, yes. And the two of them just came together. And I said, that's what it is.
Christopher's like,
I loved it. Yeah. That was all me. The energy. I love seeing that. That is the best. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Amy, you can see it in Christopher's face, that whole human empathy of seeing his buyers when it all clicked, that energy came together there. It was just so good.
I love that.
You mentioned, I think I saw it somewhere in your bio, Christopher, you study inventory every day.
Yep.
Most agents just look at inventory. What's the difference?
That I think comes from my investigative journalism background, So I do the deep dive. Okay. So of course you're looking at, as a whole, how's the market doing? What's the average days on the market that things have been active? And then you say, now, did they sell at what percentage of the list price? So I'm going to go there with it. And then I'm going to even get into where, as I'm looking at homes that are comparable to the listings that I'm about to sign, I'm definitely going in and walking those homes and looking, because something might be on the same street and priced, 1.6, whatever it is. And the neighbor thinks, hey, I want to list my house for that price. Well, okay, let me go look at that house. Why was that? And I take a look and I say, hey, their kitchen, that's a $200,000 remodel. Yours is still the original kitchen. That yard over there, that's twice the size of your yard. Somebody could have put a pool there. This is going to be like taking a shoehorn, trying to get a little spa in there. So I think it's very important to get really down deep, do the deep dive. That's where I think it comes from. I've been just doing that the past 3 listings I've had. We've had some follow-up meetings and sitting down and really bringing out all the data, and I go deep on this stuff. So that's why studying that inventory is invaluable. You need to bring value. You need to bring value.
Yes.
So you've got to recognize the patterns.
Yes.
What's behind those numbers. And therefore, it's not that those numbers help you buy and sell. It's help you buy and sell wisely, right?
Yes,
with your wisely. Okay, I got it. That's
How
great.
Sorry, Roger.
No, go ahead.
How often do you get that call where they say, oh, Christopher, you were right? And how does that get, I'm sure, I can already tell you stay humble with all of that, but are there times when you're like, yes, I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah, there is definitely a couple times a week, sometimes where I said, just recently, well, remember the price when we sat down originally and we talked about, like, this is what the market is saying. This is the cost per square foot. Here's where we are. but you wanted, over here. And I said, we got to really be over here. That conversation comes up, and then we have that little talk about it, and we get to reality, and we get to it. And it's, you know what? That is funny. We just did something recently on our property where we just did the relaunch of the new price right as we were sitting there, pulled out the computer, went in, did a lot of different changes to everything, and then said, okay, now we can get to the price part. That's the reason we're not getting the showings. If you're not getting showings every week, something's going on. It's probably the price, right? So we get in there and we say, okay, let's do it, Chris. I clicked save, right? Boom, which relaunched the listing out at the new price. I went to look at my phone. I had a message already asking for a showing, and I said, look at that. Because the people who are out there that are looking at the inventory, they're on alerts. They're on alerts. They know a property they like, they saved it. If something changes about that property, they're getting on an alert. And I said, look at this. We have a showing Friday, 10:30 a.m. because you listened. Yeah, that's very
Wow, that's
rewarding.
powerful.
That is powerful.
That's powerful. As a mentor, then, how do you help other agents or professionals you're mentoring to understand the delicate balance of those conversations and getting their own ego out of the way?
Yeah, that's a very huge part. And it's really trying to make sure everybody feels supported. Everybody feels supported and heard. I tell the people that I mentee, would you call it? I mentor, right? The mentees.
As the mentees.
The mentees to really listen. Don't go in there and talk. I said, no. Listen. What is the motivation here? What is the real meaning behind why they're selling? Is it that the bills are coming in and the insurance costs are just killing them? They can't do it anymore, right? Is there some motivation? And so if you're really listening to your clients and listening to their needs, that's the best way to respond. That's what I tell them. I say, and be blunt, be direct. I mean, being a guy from Jersey, I can just kind of come right out and just say it and, say, hey, sorry, I'm from the East Coast. This is how we talk. I'll say, but
that's not fair. You always have that apology. I can't say that.
That's it, though. It's just listen. I tell them follow. I like them to have them shadow what I'm doing, and I always tell them I'm learning every time too, right? I say every single listing we take, every buyer we take out, there's going to be something new we're going to bring to our toolbox for the next deal. Whether it's coming in and looking at a home and saying, okay, we'll put this out for this price if you paint, if you stage. And of course they're going to go, no, just sell it to me the way it is. I'm telling you, this is very important. And you have to have those conversations with them, and follow up, right? Follow up is key. Yeah.
Yep. Follow up is key.
Follow up is key.
And it's so interesting that teaching, that leadership, listening to understand rather than listening to respond, or just waiting for the other person to shut up so you can talk, right? Listening to understand properly. And so that leads me now to the leadership, which you show so much of. You've successfully moved from selling homes and now to helping grow an organization. How has your definition of leadership changed over the years?
Honestly, it's still pretty much the same. I'm just me, and I've really become a teacher in a sense, where I've even written up some programs for my mentees, where it's, this is how you should really conduct yourself at an open house. Do you have 6 real estate signs instead of the normal 3? I want you to put it everywhere. When people come to the houses I put on tour, they always say, thanks for making it really easy to find. And I say, hey, because I'm doing it for me too, because my signs are going to be all over the place. People driving around, they see the name. But I think that I try to lead by example. I've set up a booklet that talks all about how best to do, floor duty. We still do the floor duty, what that is, where you're sitting in the real estate office, especially because of the office that we have here in Sonoma on the plaza. It's tourists, people living here, walking by all the time. So I just say, you have some music going, you have the doors open, you'll be ready. Don't go in there and bring your lunch and a bunch of homework you got to do and your bills from the bank. Be ready for the conversation that's about to occur. That is going to be someone knocking on the door, walking in saying, I see this picture in the window of this beautiful 4-bed, 3.5 bath, 2-story home, 4 blocks from the plaza for $2.4 million. Tell me about it. So you want to have that data ready. Oh, because one of the things also I always tell them, know the showing instructions. Because when someone's coming in, walking in off the street, coming into our office, and they see a property they like, you don't have that much time to, they're coming by and they're thinking we're on our way to get a smash burger,
Yes.
but we saw this picture in the window right away. I need to be able to look at that immediately and have the notes ready to say, oh, that one, oh, it's vacant. I can show it to you before or after your smash burger. When would you like to go? Or it might say occupied 24-hour notice, so you're not just walking into somebody's house while they're in there having a dinner party and you're trying to show it. You got to know, right? So I just love, there's one thing I just love sharing the tools that I've learned. Like, absolutely. Yeah. I think I'm a teacher at heart, actually.
Yeah. So I'm listening very carefully to how you answered Amy's question there. And it sounds like you don't only have a duplicatable system where if they just followed you, they would be fine. Of course, that's leadership. But you don't tell people what to do. You influence their thinking, right? Yeah. So that they come to that realization themselves. And that's a real strong leadership trait. So some negotiators create winners and losers. Others create trust, right? Mm-hmm. What have you learned about negotiating in a way that leaves everyone feeling respected?
I think, Roger, that goes back again to listening. That whole idea of asking questions, really probing, and really getting to the heart of what is the answer. Everyone being supported, everyone being heard. I think you want the flow within the transaction. You want to have everything up front, and you want to leave everybody supported. And that it really just keeps going back to that, just listening. I remember putting an offer on a property in Sonoma, and the seller was countering back, $10,000. But I was dealing with buyers that were very much East Coast buyers, and it was all cash, closed 12 days. And so I remember being on the phone with that agent on the other side, and it was actually his property, but he was listing it himself. And I remembered at one point listening to him say that, yeah, I'm selling this because I might have asked him, why are you selling it? He said, well, I'm buying this big Bank of Marin building down the street. I said, oh, okay. And he was real excited about it. And so when he came back with this $10,000 ridiculous counter to my clients who were basically saying, here's your money, 12 days, it's done. What do you need? And him going, I want another $10,000. And I said to him, I said, what are you doing? I said, you're going to lose these people, first of all. And number two, I thought you needed this because you needed to close escrow on another property. And I made sure to remind him of his own intention, which was take the money from this, take his profit out, and go put it towards this new, bigger building with more income coming in and whatever the bells and whistles with that one were. And he sat on it and he thought about it for just like a minute of silence. And we were both just quiet, right? And first one he thought loses, and he was quiet. And he said, all right, I'm signing it. I'm sending it back. And I said, that's really? A smart idea. That's a good move. But I love to teach by example. That's for sure. Because I think we learn by doing, we learn by doing. So if I can get them to do it, I say, you log on to the system. You show me how you're going to get the disclosures. You show me this. I want you to touch the computer, right? That's it. I don't know about you, but for me, it's like, if I hear instructions, I'm like, okay, you just said a lot of words.
In
and out. I just do it in and out? Can I just do it while you're talking? Tell me what you need me to do, and I'll do it, right? Yeah. That's the way we learn. There's no doubt.
Amy, I was listening to Christopher answer that. I don't know if you picked up what I picked up. Christopher has the confidence with his clients to have that tough conversation.
Yes.
Right? This was tough love that he showed to that client. And Christopher, you clearly have found your voice with people, right? And because so many people want to say the customer is always right.
Right, and be a people pleaser in the transaction.
You heard that too, right? I heard that as well.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Christopher, people often chase leads. You've built a reputation. Which one creates the stronger career?
Ooh, that's a great question. To me, it's all about loyalty. It's very important. So if I'm chasing a lead, a lead comes in and I'm chasing it, and I start to realize they're playing me off of multiple real estate agents out there, all showing them homes or something. That right there, I'll say, nope, I'm going to turn the focus to the loyalty, the loyal clients, the referrals. Back in the day, you used to teach about the Dunbar 150. That right there was just opened my whole mind. That
I remember.
amazing. And it's so true. When you look at your Dunbar 150 and the top people who maybe they've only bought one home or maybe no homes, but they've referred you 5 people who all bought homes, right?
Right.
Work with them, have parties, invite them. I do a farmer's market table every Tuesday night here in Sonoma. And I'm not part of the farmer's market. I don't have eggs and
You don't do
strawberries.
that too?
Nope, I bring champagne. So I fill up a cooler with 6 bottles of champagne. I send out an invitation to my entire database, my service providers, my friends, my family, my real estate clients. And I say, bring a chair and a bottle to share. And what do? We just have a good time. And then they bring me their friends who become clients.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Are
Way
you
better
bringing
than
those
that.
bottles down to San Diego next week? And which farmer's market will you be at? Just curious. I mean, I can give you some suggestions. Just kidding. We
I heard
have
there's
a question
a
that
great
came
farmers
in.
market. I heard this. My daughter just went to a great farmers market in San Diego. I want to say it was in the city. I don't know if it was Gaslight. It was the Italian Village somewhere down
Yes,
there.
in Little Italy. Yes, they
In
have a
Little
great
Italy.
one there. Yes.
Just
yes.
went. I should have brought one. It would have been great to show you. I have this winery in town that I love, Capo Izzetta. And I was in there picking up, ordering I was ordering about 8 cases of sparkling Frizzante. And that's what I was
Nice.
giving out every year for Christmas presents. And Nick and Nolan, who were working there at the time when I was in there, said, Chris, we should create a label for you. And I said, what did you say? That you got my attention.
Yes.
And they said, yeah, we'll call it, instead of Frizzante, let's call it Chrissante.
I love it. It's so fun when that happens.
It was the best. And then
Isn't
they
that the
sent me a
best?
prototype a few days later, and it was this image of me holding a glass, and it said croissant. And I love it. And then later on, they ended up emailing me saying, send me an actual photograph that you have. And I had just done professional photography. And in fact, one of the shots I did was in their wine bar. So I was in their wine bar while we were having this discussion, taking photos. So I sent them one of those photos with me against the wine barrels. So wouldn't you know, I'm up to about 14 cases now because, I think since it had me on there, every event now, I'm not just the Christmas.
I had my own root beer once. I'm
go.
right there with you.
Isn't that something? That's it. And that's
so
marketing.
fun.
Yep.
Oh my
I
God.
love
Okay,
it.
we have a question from one of our audience. We got off track. I'm sorry, but that is so much fun. What lessons have you learned, good and bad, that has shifted your business? And darn you, Jeff, you peeled in on one of the questions I was going to ask next. So this is broad, and it's all yours.
Okay, so tell me the question again. What
lessons have you learned, good and bad, that has shifted your business?
Well, okay, that's a great. I'd say that whole thing about being direct with a client, right? With people who say, come and look at my house and tell me what it's worth. So I've learned you have to do that no matter what. And okay, so the good is when they listen, they thank you later and say, you were totally right. Painting, new flooring, staging, no doubt about it. And that was the right move, and it was worth the investment, and it paid off. And then there's sometimes where, you go in with all that and they're going to say, no, I'm not going to do any of that. And you end up turning down a listing, and saying, well, at that price you're at, it's not going to happen unless you do these things. If you're not going to do it, I'm walking away. So I guess what you could say good and bad would be losing a listing, right? But the good would be the ones you do get, the ones that do follow the protocol of what to do. It's definitely well worth it, because then they're going to tell their friends and you get more referrals. So that's what I would say about that, Jeff.
I love that. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff.
Always
I
a
appreciate
fan
that.
favorite, one of our biggest supporters, Jeff Blackwell,
Yeah,
to us from LinkedIn.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
thank
Roger,
you.
I know I've been having way too much fun, and then I'm handing it back. But I want to know, Christopher, as a leader, and we all have our journey, and we just heard so much of your journey. I was curious about your very first job and what you learned from that you still use today.
Yeah, wow, that is really good, because I started real young. My family, both my parents, they're amazing, and they've been in sales their whole life. And they would have some of the most random things in the garage, you know. And I'm going way back. What I learned is when you set up a table down at the bottom of your street as a young kid, people think you're selling lemonade, you know, and that's what they're stopping for. Well, I wasn't selling lemonade. My parents had in the garage these IQ testers. Have you seen these? It's a wood block triangle. You jump it. So they used to buy them by the cases and sell them to restaurants and bars all across from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York. And they also had these things called label makers. You know, it was this orange looking thing with a dial on it, and you put a label and you put the letters and you spell out and you stuck it on your Tupperware or whatever. I didn't really know what they did with them, but all I know is they had boxes of them in the garage. And I said, what are you doing with all these? And they were like, nothing. So I took them and I went to the corner and I started up my little stand as a little kid. People pull up, I'll take a lemonade. I'd say, oh, I got lemonade. I got label makers and I've got IQ testers. And I still made a few sales. Also, I sold snow cones out in front of my parents' cafe on Church Street. And my dad really taught me at his young age. He said, okay, here's the ice. I'm going to get you the rental of the machine. And this is the whole product. You go out and you sell. And I'd sell it. And then at the end of the day, he'd collect. He'd say, okay, how did you do? I'd say, I've got this, $150. He'd say, okay, that 20 back to me for the ice. This 30 was for the rental of the machine.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go. So it taught me at a young age, how that all works, right? Your investment and your income. And so I was taught really young. I turned that into being in high school. I was the one who bought the kegs of beer and I'd sell them for $3 a cup. And, it was a blast. So I've always been in sales and everything. So I love it. I love
that. You learned to hustle.
The hustle. Yes.
That is super. So just last one or two questions here, Christopher. I don't want the audience as well to miss what you said earlier. People listening, you heard Christopher mention Dunbar's 150. There is gold in what Christopher said there. The maximum amount of people you can have a meaningful relationship with at any one time is 150. So if you are just trying to broadcast to 2,000 people in your database, you're making a mistake. Narrow it down to 150, and that should be those that have entrusted you with their money in the past, and those who speak you up. Put your energy there. See if you can get those two buckets to add up to 150. Yeah. Great, Christopher. Thank you for bringing that back.
Excellent.
Imagine a brand new agent listening today. What's the one piece of advice that will be still true 20 years from now? So that's the one question. And the other one is, after more than 2 decades and over $200 million in sales, what have you learned about people that has nothing to do with real estate? So for the newbie.
The newbie follow-up. It's so important to follow up. When you're in this type of business, everywhere you go, you're running into people who are interested in real estate, and they're going to ask you about it. They're going to talk to you about it. And they're going to say to you, I'm thinking about maybe buying something here coming in, or I've got this house to sell. It's really important to create some sort of database or system to make notes, get their name down, get the phone number, write down what they're looking for, almost kind of an interview, And then at that point, once you've got some value, following up. Because what I don't want them to see, and it happens once in a while where you'll talk to an advisor and they'll say, yeah, I met this person. They were really interested, it seemed. And then I saw them again 7 months later and I was like, oh, hey, how you doing? And they say, oh, I'm great. You should come over to my new house. And then the advisor's crushed because they go, what do you mean your new house? I thought, well, you didn't follow up with me. So I say, that's got to be number one. You have to follow up. And of course, with that follow up, bring something of value. Hey, that block that you really like, there's a house that just came on the market. Or did you see this place sold? Give them some data, give them some information. So I think that is huge right there. And I tell the first thing I do when I sit down with a new advisor, I say, I don't care if you're using a Word doc, a Google doc, some fancy CRM. What are you going to do when you meet somebody? Where are you going to put that so you know where to go look at it? And then, I do something with Google Doc and it's an A doc, right? These people are hot, right? I just met them. They're ready to go. After a bunch of follow-ups, if you realize they're kind of tailing off into something else or the job situation changed, you move them over to B or you move them over to C. And there's all these fancy CRMs that'll handle all that too. But I don't care. I just tell them real estate 101, back to basics. Write their name down somewhere, follow up, put a note, put the date that you called them. It doesn't need to be a fancy CRM. Just follow up.
Right. So that's the F-bomb. That's the F-bomb in real estate.
That's
follow
the
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
That's
your
the
other
F-bomb.
question.
What have you learned about people that has nothing to do with real estate over the years?
Oh, well, I'd say most people are good, right? And I think I like to surround myself with people that are like-minded and have good energy and understand the key principles of the universe, which is, as you think it, right, it'll manifest. So what you're focusing on is going to come back manifest. So I say that all the time, and I truly live that. And that's a big piece that I've noticed with people. I really understand this setting of intentions, right? Having insights, setting intentions, and then watching it manifest. I've done this so much that I've even started a journal where I say, like, from insight to Oscar, a story of insight, intention, and manifestation.
Yes.
And so I've got this, right? And it's so key. And it's key to remember that, because sometimes we can tail off if market's down, things are bad, there's a lot, and all of a sudden we're spiraling. And it's like, wait a second, I can control this by my thoughts. Boom. This is key, right? Very, very important.
If you think you're going to succeed, you will. And if you think you're going to fail, you will. Right?
There it is. That's like Henry Ford right there.
Henry Ford. That's exactly what it is.
Yes.
Yeah. There's no accidents. I'm so glad you all got me on here. I love this energy. Beautiful.
We have fun. And that's why we were so excited that you said yes to being with us today. This was an extra special time and meeting. And I just am so thrilled for the wisdom that you've been providing, and your story and your light and your energy. If you're new to the real estate business, take a look at Christopher. Like, honestly, look, you do not look grizzled and like, you're ready to just call it quits. You can see the joy in your eyes from working with people and from working in your passion your entire career. And that says it all right there.
That's it.
It does say it all. Amy, you said it just perfectly. I do believe that you're not doing real estate because you like houses. I'm sure you're doing real estate because not only does it change people's lives, but it brings you joy, which get passed on to your family, and just everything is enriched by that great energy and that growth mindset that you have. So, Christopher, from Amy and I, from the bottom of our hearts, you could have said yes to other podcasts, but you came and joined us today. And we're eternally grateful for that.
Yes,
we really are.
My last question for us to close out, Chris.
Yep.
If you could tell your 20-year-old something with who you are now and everything you know, what would you say?
Oh, I'd say buy more homes, Chris. What were you thinking? I mean, I'm grateful for the homes I bought, but I walked out of places. I walked out of places back when I moved to California and would say, oh, it's a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath. I really want 2 baths. And it was $159,000. And I said, no, right? And then it took me later on to realize, oh, for $6,000, a plumber can add a shower into that. And, and so I would say buy more homes, Chris. Just do it. Pull the trigger.
Do it.
Yeah.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for being a part of our show today. Open invitation that you come back anytime you want. You create the topic. We don't care. We'll turn the cameras on. So you're a part of the family now. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Amy. Thank you so much.
And Roger, as always, thank you for just being a light in this world. And we all want to say happy birthday as we just universally celebrate the amazing, beautiful, wonderful Roger Savvy.
Roger.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you. And thank you if you're watching this. Thank you so much for being with us. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast streaming platform later, give us a comment. Let us know you were here, what kind of topics you're looking for next. Share, subscribe, and don't miss the next episode of Between Escrows.